Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Hello. I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. I'm fantastic. I'm okay. All right.
You're okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us today. Hey, look, we're really excited to be able to chat to you and find out more about Virgin River and all your other shows and bits and pieces that you've been up to.
Awesome.
So we're gonna get straight into it. We've got fans zooming in from all around the world, UK, USA, Canada, New Zealand. So first up, we're gonna go to Mel first up. So Mel is actually at a surprise birthday party, but she snuck out because she didn't want to miss the interview. So we're going to go to Mel first. Dedication. Mel in the UK.
Thank you. Thank you. Just had one cocktail, so only a little tipsy. Sorry, can't go away. Right, my question to you, Trevor. Thank you for joining us, by the way. It's so lovely to be able to speak to you. My question for you is, Bert comes across as the favourite uncle type of character in the Virgin River community. What are your favourite qualities that Bert has that you would say drew you to wanting to play the character?
Oh, great question. Well, the funny thing about Bert is when I auditioned for the role, the breakdown for the character was basically Bert, a tow truck driver. That's it.
Okay.
He basically, because Bert's not in the books at all, right? So he's just a fresh kind of out of my mind kind of wonky character. And so I think the best qualities of Bert is just that, he always wants to do the right thing. He's always there for anybody who needs him. The love of his life is with him. I'm very happy we finally got to meet her. There was a rumor that she was just locked in a dungeon someplace, like a Norman Bates situation, or she was just up in Canada. But yeah, I think he does what's right when it's needed, and he'll stand up for people when they need him to. He's a good guy. He's a big old teddy bear.
He is. We love Bert and we love him for that. So keep doing keep being him basically.
Cool. Awesome.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks
very
Mel.
much.
Enjoy the party, Mel.
I will, but I might try and stick around for a little longer because they won't miss me. It's fine.
So Trevor, we're going to go to Kerry. So Kerry is another one who's actually meant to be in 3 different places at once, but she really wanted to join the Zoom. So I said, oh, that's okay. We'll make sure that you're one of the first. And Kerry was also one of the ladies who travelled. So she's in the USA, who travelled to Vancouver a couple of months ago to visit Virgin River. And so Kerry, where are you, Kerry? And what's your question?
I'm right here. Sorry,
I
I got food on. Half food cooking. It didn't cook fast enough. So I was trying not to burn the house down. But, Trevor, I've interacted with you on some social media posts in the past. It's kind of cool. I mean, you'll throw something out there and we'll be chatting back and forth and I'll throw something out there, usually something completely off the wall. It's pretty fun. And I found you incredibly funny. So I just love your sense of humor, your willingness to interact with fans, and you always make me smile. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering, in your opinion, is talking with fans encouraged to further the fan base or discouraged because you could accidentally say too much? Does it make a difference on this answer based on what show you're filming? Because I know you've been in several things. And is it completely up to the actor?
It's a great question. This is going to be great questions all around, I got a feeling. Well, here's the thing. I like people. That's just who I am as a person. And I started in this business just doing background work. So it's kind of like the lowest end of the totem pole in the whole hierarchy of things. So I've been on all the spectrums of things. I started working in theater, and it's a different kind of world there too. But it's whenever you're talking with people, it's not fueling the ego so much, but it's just more of just really connecting with people, because the main reason why I got into this business in the first place was because when I was a kid, I was raised on movies. So I would sit there in a movie theater and watch an amazing movie, and it would change me for the better, usually, sometimes for the worse. It would make you feel bad. But I wanted to have that impact on people. And I figure every day I've got this rule that if I can make one person smile every day, it was a good day. Plain and simple. If I can make 100 people smile, awesome. Make 1 million people smile, whoa, oh, crazy awesome. So I think it's a great thing for people to interact with their fans. As far as doing spoilers, oh my goodness, it's so hard not to, say like in season 5, Bert's getting new shoes, stuff like that. It's easy, but it's so easy to slip up, and it takes a lot of kind of training over the years to kind of go, okay, can't say this. I got to remember. I got to focus in the front of my head, saying, "Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't be Tom Holland. Don't be Tom Holland." That guy will spoil everything, and which is usually me. So I think it's a great thing to talk to people. I think it's a great thing to interact and kind of outside the show, because you guys get to see what we filmed currently. What we filmed last year, right? So kind of keeping up to date with everybody too, and seeing what everybody's theories are and stuff, which is great. Always wanted to tell the writers, like, hey, this is a great idea. Make Bert a bad guy, stuff like that. But they'll never listen. Well, maybe they will. But yeah, I think it's a great thing, yeah. Hope that I ramble a lot. I apologize. That's a fun, long story for that too.
So I can tell you without a doubt that all the fans just love interacting with the actors. So we really enjoy it. So I'm glad you enjoy it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
A lot.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks. Don't burn your food.
Yeah, no, I got it turned off now. I had to run and turn it off real quick.
Carrie's just had major shoulder surgery too, so she was like, I'm not missing this interview.
You can pick my hand up this high now.
Oh, you're a trooper.
Plus.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
Yes, of course.
Sure.
I had spinal surgery a couple months ago.
Whoa. Oh.
Yeah. So I feel you. I know what you're going through. It's a rough kind of thing to have everything kind of get broken and fixed, and the slow recovery period to it, but you'll get there.
Before or after the push-ups that you were doing?
Before. If you guys want to hear that story now, I can tell you that story now.
Tell us.
Okay, here's the thing. I've been a big guy for a long time. In 2009, I almost died from a hospital infection that I had for 10 months. And it damaged my whole endocrine system so badly that my thyroid went down to 20% production, and my body stopped making testosterone completely. And I gained 100 pounds in 2 months after they got this infection out of me. And that 100 pounds stayed on for the last 12 years. And it basically kept me from being able to return to the job that I had before I got sick. And I kind of ramble a lot. I lose a lot of focus, a lot of things and stuff like that. So I can't technically work an actual job anymore. So it's a blessing to have the acting stuff, because it's the greatest job in the world. But the past few years, I've noticed that my memory is starting to go quite a bit, and my arms and legs are getting a little numb all the time and starting to get really sore. And I wasn't able to do a lot of things. And I went to the doctor and got checked out, and they saw in my neck there was a disc that had compressed, and the bone above and below the vertebrae had spread out to protect it, but it was growing into my spinal cord. So instead of your spinal cord going straight like that, it was like this. So they had to do surgery pretty fast, but because of COVID happening, they couldn't do it right away. So it finally got done in January 21st this past year. And it was a miracle. Like I woke up with the strength back in my arms and legs almost immediately because the pressure was off my neck. And they were checking me out of the hospital. And the physio person was like, okay, let's see if you can walk. And I'm like, okay. I got up and I started power walking through the whole hospital. She's like, you got to slow down. I'm like, that works again. So I had a hoot with that. But it allowed me to start working out again, which also got the whole weight loss stuff that we've been working on. I got, before the surgery, I met with a weight loss clinic in town here that kind of did some blood tests and determined what my body was missing, what it needed. And we started with a low glycemic index diet, which is not too much different what I was eating, but you kind of cut out the dairy and the sugar and the gluten stuff. And I think I dropped about 30 pounds just doing that before the surgery, and then dropped another 20 since the surgery. And was able to start doing push-ups like crazy, which is great. And lifting up Preacher, I lifted him up like he was a bag of bread, which shocked him and Ben. It was just like, what the heck, dude? I'm like, hey. But the surgery it started healing. You're starting to feel this weight lifted off you. And it didn't get me back to how I was before I got sick, which is unfortunate because I'd love to be that guy again. But it got me back about 2 years of my life back to that spot. So I'm a lot healthier than I used to be. And because, to be honest, and here's a secret of season 4, I collapsed at the end of one day due to some pain I was having in my side. And they took great care of me, and they put me on some oxygen for a little bit and got me feeling better and great enough. But it was a wake-up call going, okay, you can't be this size anymore. Like, it's funny. Like, it's great to be the love child of John Candy and Chris Farley. It's not gonna, you're not gonna last. There's a reason why those guys didn't make it into their 50s. And so yeah, if there's anything from this interview that we can get from kind of almost like a not funny but serious note, is take care of your health, because it's really the only thing you got. And being 50 now is a lot different than it was being 50 20 years ago. It's a different world now. You can do things and exercise and maintain yourself through the years. And so surgery, Gary, good on you for getting it, and I hope you get better real fast.
You're doing really well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Oh my gosh, Trevor, that's I
told you I had stories.
I know. I did. When you said that you had a story, I was thinking, oh, okay, but that's life changing. Wow.
On several levels, right?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't give up this life that I have now for anything. Like I can imagine, because before I got sick, I used to work with HSBC doing high risk finance, and I was being groomed for a high level with them. And ironically, when I got sick, they covered everything 100%. Like, I had prescriptions that ran thousands and thousands of dollars just for like 10 days worth of medication that they covered 100%, because they wanted me back, for one thing. But it's a heck of a thing to go through and try to bounce back from it. I call it the dead cat bounce. Pardon if that's animal lovers out there. But as a friend of mine called it years ago, was you can't get any lower than bouncing a dead cat, because they don't bounce back up. But you can build yourself back up from that spot once you get there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're on the road to recovery and
slow one, yeah.
Yeah.
I stubbed my toe like 6 months ago and broke it, apparently. And I've never broken a bone, so I didn't know. And I've been working on Virgin River season 5 with a broken toe that I've just been toughing it out.
Oh.
So you may see some scenes where I'm like maybe limping.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
And we know why. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So Trevor, we are going to go to Nebraska, and we have got a question from Sue. So what's your question?
Oh, you're muted, Sue.
Oh, so sorry, Sue. Are you with us?
Oh,
there you go.
Hi, thanks for doing this.
Oh, no worries.
My question is, what are some of your hobbies that you enjoy in your spare time?
Awesome. Okay. Before the pandemic hit, one of my favorite things I started doing was 3D printing. Love 3D printing like crazy. Like, you can basically build anything. So all the toys I wanted as a kid, I can now build. It's like I'm my own Santa Claus. But one of the kickers I started doing, I think you can see right there, this guy, it's like a little Mandalorian kind of helmet thing. I started making helmets because I wanted to give them to sick kids in the hospital, to make them feel braver, so they could have their favorite Star Wars character helmet, like a Stormtrooper or Darth Vader or what have you, or Boba Fett. And then, they could probably maybe help them heal and get healthier faster. But COVID kind of screwed it up. Right. So I've been hoping now that we're coming to the end of the pandemic that maybe that might be an option to do. But I think in the meantime, I'm going to try to make just toys for kids. Cool little fun for them to play with and stuff like that. So that's the goal now. I just got to wait to get the approval so that I can actually go to the hospital and deliver them. And maybe if it's Christmas time, we'll dye this white and be a little Santa Claus kind of thing. So that's one of the things I love doing. Because of the health issues that I've had, basically my life has been watching Netflix, playing video games, living the life of a college student who doesn't go to class. That kind of thing.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I try.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sue. So we are going to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, what's your question?
Hi, Trevor. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm a huge fan of the show. Can't wait for season 5. So it's a pleasure talking with you. My question for you is, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've had a few. Like Bert and Shirley is up there because that got emotional. It made some people cry, which was real nice in a really weird way. Honestly, though, the lumberjack games, that was a hoot because we got to work with actual lumberjacks for that. And the guys that we were working with were like, "You're pretty good at this. You should come compete with us."
Wow.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. I think I pulled a hamstring that day too, with that big saw. But I think that one was probably the funnest because just we were up on top of a mountain and sawing actual logs. And the girl who was playing Molly, she's a lumberjill in real life, so she competes as well. So she was, teaching me how to do it. And we were such a great team. We were actually sawing through the log faster than the scene was going. So we had to fake it and kind of hold back and hold the saw up because we were cutting too fast. So I think that one, that was the favorite one.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Trevor, we've got a question from Celine, who's in France. She couldn't actually join us, but she sent through her question. And she said, what are the most important moments of your acting career? Or what has been the most important moments of your acting career and why?
Well, I think it's going to sound corny, but it's going to be Virgin River, to be honest. It's one of the first shows that I've gotten to be a bigger character on. But Virgin River, it actually started as only just a 5-line actor role. And there's different stages with actor roles and stuff. And there's principal roles that have more lines and guest stars and co-stars and stuff like that. But I think with the acting career, every job you get earns you onto another plateau. And it's like stairs. So you're continually climbing all the way up. And sometimes you're climbing down. But this was one of the first shows that I got to do where it just started off as nothing. And they liked me so much, they brought me back for another episode in season 1. And then again, season 2, kept bringing me back. Interesting story. Season 3, you were actually supposed to get a whole lot more of Bert on season 3. Because of COVID, we had to change the storylines. So all that, it was supposed to be completely full season of Bert in every episode. Which is sad. So we got to start a new hashtag, more Bert, hashtag more Bert, and we'll get more. So that was unfortunate. That would have been a dream because I can't say much about it, but I would have been able to work with one of my favorite actresses in the world. Yeah.
Who's your favorite actress in the? Who is the favorite actor in the world that you get to work with? Which one is it?
Yeah. Here's the thing. When I got this job, I got to meet her and let her know that I've been a fan of hers for a long time. Being that I'm a huge nerd, I wanted to show you guys something that you don't get to see.
Annette O'Toole.
Stop! Oh, Annette O'Toole. Oh.
I got this the day after I found out I was going to survive from the whole medical issue.
That's
remind me to always be a kid. So it's Superman and Green Lantern tattoo mixed together. And when I got to meet Annette, I was just like, oh my goodness. Is it okay for just a minute? Can I fanboy out? We were in the makeup trailer meeting for the first time. She's like, yeah, I'm million. Then I spazzed out for 2 minutes, and then that was cool. I kind of geek out a little bit every once in a while too. It's really interesting, getting to meet people that you've idolized for a long time. Like her and Tim, I grew up watching their movies and shows, And it's just sitting there going, wow, it's so surreal that I get to be here sitting with these people and acting with these people. Like Bert gets to be with Tim a lot, right? So like we got to go fishing in a river last season, which the river, 5 minutes from my house. Easiest commute ever. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, Virgin River, bar none.
Nice. Well, we hope that we get to see more of Bert in season 5, a whole lot more. When I posted the post about this interview, all the Virgin River fan sites, everyone's like, oh, I love Bert, I love Bert. So yeah, everybody would love to see more of Bert. Yeah.
Hashtag more Bert.
Hashtag watch this. These ladies on here, and also I think it's only Matthew on here today because Jared can't make it, but we will be hashtagging. Hashtag more Bert. Absolutely. So Trevor, we are going to France now, and we've got a question from Wendy. Wendy, what's your question?
Hello there. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And I'm so excited to talk to you. I'd like to know in which way the Virgin River has changed your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, Virgin River, because it's became so big so fast. When we were talking about the stairs for the acting careers, once you get onto a show that gives you a lot of exposure, suddenly you get to be more in demand for other shows. I got to do one last year called Billy the Kid, a TV series that they filmed in Calgary. And the role I got to play was something completely opposite of her. He was a town drunk, a racist, a womanizer, a horrible person. But he was technically in history the first person Billy the Kid ever killed. And I earned my death in that show, I'll tell you. But it gets me to do stuff like that where I didn't get to. I also now have a recurring role on a show called Nancy Drew, ironically playing a tow truck driver. And his name's Fred. So Fred and Bert, I think we're going to have some universe crossing on there. But it just leads to bigger and better things. Once you get the big break on something, it just leads to greater things and more fun to do. Like the auditions that I get today versus before Virgin River are night and day. I got to just audition to be the main villain of the next season of Superman and Lois. And I didn't get it, obviously, but I would be spouting off nothing for that. But it's at that level that you're like, oh my goodness, I'm getting seen for some really juicy stuff now. And it's all thanks to Virgin River. Yeah, good. I'm happy for you, and you deserve it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. I'm gonna definitely get to France one of these days. We're gonna have some wonderful tea and coffee.
Oh yeah.
Eiffel Tower time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. If Virgin River gets renewed for season 6, and we're all hoping it's going to, there's a group of us from all over the world who plan on actually joining the group that visited this year. So we will take you up on your tea and coffee, and you can be our tour guide.
Done deal. I was actually going to drive up to the bar up in Squamish just to surprise people. Just sit there by the water and just have a drink and just wait for people.
Look,
and to see if they notice.
You've said it live on YouTube. You can't so it's a done deal now. Done deal.
God.
Now one of the ladies who actually visited this year with the group from all over the world is Marissa, and she is on here. She's from the UK. So Marissa, what's your question?
Hi, Trevor. Thanks very much for joining us. It's very good. I wanted to ask, what are the things that you like about working for Virgin River?
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. It's no secret that I love the show. But in season 1, when I started on the show, my first episode was just me. That was it. There's no other actors in the first scene that I did when I was out in the woods with my big tow truck. But when I got the second episode, something felt interesting and different. And it was a good kind of strange, because suddenly the set that I was walking on, it felt like home for some reason. So very comfortable. And the people that are on the show, the cast and the crew, everybody involved felt like family, like right away. and it was the most interesting feeling in the world. And I'm like, I've gotten along with people great stuff, but every show that I used to do before was just, I would be there for a day and that was it. So, people really didn't want to commit to getting to know you so much, but I'd force them because I was like a bull in a china shop. But Virgin River, there's something magical about it. And I think that's what's coming across on the screen is that we're having such a good time making it. And everyone, like whenever I show up to work, I am like a bull in a china shop. I own that myself because I'm just like a ball of energy. And I do that not for my own ego or any sort. I do that because I want to keep people entertained and keep people happy and get them energy, like just transfer it from me to them. Because there's the crew that's been there for hours before we've gotten there and are there hours after we leave. I want to take care of them. And if that, me acting like a goofball or just the loudest person in the room, gives them enough energy to get through the day and get home safely that night, that's what I'm there to do. I'm sure my fellow actors probably looking like, Trevor, simmer down. I'm like, I can't. I'm like Robin Williams having a good old time with everybody. And it's like getting recharged every time I get on set. And that's my favorite things to people. Long answer. There you go.
No, it's good. You gave me the goosebumps.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. So Trevor, Mel is on here. She was the one who first asked the question, and she is at the surprise birthday party. She's just emailed to say that she hates to do this, but there's 50 people downstairs, so she's going. So we're just going to say goodbye to Mel. Thank you, Mel.
Mel, bring him in. Bring him in.
60 of them. I would otherwise. They won't shut off. They'll be too noisy. Thank you so much, Trevor. I hate to leave halfway through, but so glad I got to speak to you. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks,
Bye.
Mel. Enjoy. See you.
I will. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So Trevor, we had a question from. So Jared was meant to join us, but just before we started, he sent an email to say that he couldn't join. So I'm just going to ask his question. So Jared's question is: your character seemed to have a natural soft spot in his heart for Mel, played by Alex. Did you both hit it off immediately?
I was nervous. So nervous. That second episode I got, it was actually by far the biggest episode I've gotten with the most lines I've had to do. And there's like 3 scenes, and it was just, oh goodness. So when I walked on set and I saw her, I was fan-struck. Oh, yeah. Because I'd seen her in, American Horror Story before, and, Walking Dead, and This Is Us. And I was like, she's like a movie star. She's like, this is a big deal. And like Tim was there too, and Martin was there, and it was just like sensory overload. But she was so calming and so fun to work with. Like I even had a take where I forgot my character's name. That was just wonky. And she was fine. She was so relaxed and cool. And she had this thing with music where she was playing the final countdown and just rocking out to it. So she's just a hoot to work with. And it's, as the seasons go, she's very easy to talk to and say hi. And, and obviously there's going to be days where she's super busy and got a lot of focus with everybody. Right. But, she's always there for you. So whenever you need to talk, she's great. It's fun to work with too.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Trevor. So now we are going to Vancouver, and Joanne is one of those ladies who joined the group. And Joanne, actually, I'll see if I can find the screenshot. The ladies made Joanne this thing for her house because her house has become known as the Virgin River headquarters. So when all the fans from all around the world come and do the tour, Joanne is the host. So Joanne, Joanne, what's your question?
I know where you all are most of the time. And I do get on set. I flirt. I get on set. And it's funny because I'm old. So the crew is like 20 years old, and I'm flirting with them all, and they just take it in. They're great. So my question, thank you for being here. Who was the greatest influence in your career?
Oh, who's ready for some goosebumps? This is a deep question. When I went to college, University of Saskatchewan, I went with the mindset that I was going to be a lawyer.
Oh, yes.
And I took an acting class as just an art credit, just an easy A, I thought. And my political science class was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and my professor had a monotone voice, which is great for 8 o'clock in the morning in university. And I fell asleep in the class multiple times. But the first time I walked into the drama building and walked into that class was that feeling of being home. And one of the professors there, his name was Henry Wolf. Henry is also in my Superman fandom. He was in Superman 3 at the beginning of the movie. He was the Penguin salesman. He was also in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's 4 foot tall, no filter. He's from the UK. He was in some Doctor Who stuff too. But he saw right through me thinking that I knew everything. And he called me out on it so many times. I learned so much from that man that it's my last year there. We do 4 main stage shows a year. And usually people do 1 or 2 at the most. I did all 4 and had a hoot doing it. And I got to work with Henry a few times over the years. And I went back to Saskatoon to surprise my mom for her birthday. And I stopped by the drama department, and they had actually dedicated one of the theaters to him. And there was a ceremony that was going to be going on later in the year, but I was stuck in Vancouver filming Virgin River. So my plan was to kind of hook up with Henry at some time to have coffee or tea and to thank him for everything, because I would have nothing. None of this would be possible without him. And he passed away recently, and I never got the chance to tell him. And I'm getting a little weepy on it. Is the most influential person in my life when it comes to leading me down the path that I've always wanted to do. And I'm going to miss him a lot, like everybody will. But I regret so much not telling him thank you. And a friend of mine actually told me that he knew. He already knew. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little weepy on.
Oh, so am I, and I don't even know the guy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was a special individual. You know, we did a play once called Lank. It's about a Lancaster bomber in World War II. And I got to play Shorty, the rear gunner, who was just a perv, who he loved. And he, one evening, because we had all the boys in the crew for the plane, he brought us a couple cases of beer and said, okay, now we're going to rehearse like they did back then. So we had a few beers and rehearsed our scene like crazy, and worked like a charm. But he also directed me in one of my favorite shows I ever did was a play called Private Wars. And it was about these veterans in a hospital. And I got to play a character by the name of Gately. And Gately was a good old boy. He was from the South, and he had a good accent on him. And it was the first play that my dad came to that I can remember seeing him in the audience. And it was one of the best shows I ever did, which is kind of why Bert has his accent. You'll notice nobody else really has an accent. I was going to kind of phase it out after season 2. But I kept it for Henry, just to keep his memory going. That's why Bert sounds like he's not from Virgin River. That's why it's for Henry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry if that's a horrible answer.
Yeah, you made me cry. Thank you.
Sorry.
And I do ugly cries. I would like to Facebook PM you if possible.
Sure.
I have a question that I can't ask in public.
Oh, Joanne.
That sounds horrible. I'm in. She's like, I need your social insurance number. You need your mother's maiden name, your bank account.
Usually I'm not innocent, but this is. So.
Good. Deal.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Joanne. We're now going to Italy, and we've got a question from Elena.
Hello, thank you for being here. I wanted to know what happened between takes. How was the atmosphere on set?
Oh my goodness! Like I said, it's a big old family. You know, sometimes we have really, really long days, and they don't feel long at all. Like I will come to work with this much energy, and I'll leave with this much energy. It's just that kind of an atmosphere there. I can tell you a funny story about season 5, but I won't tell you anything about what happened. But we're doing this scene where I have to walk across the field. That's it. Just walk across the field. I'm in the background of the whole scene. And then we yell cut, and I walk back. And then we start up again. One take, I don't know if it was a joke on their part or what, but we walk across, they yell cut, I start walking back. I get about halfway across the field to where I have to start again. And I hear, camera, rolling. And I'm like, ooh, and I bolt it. I try to run as fast as I can to get to my first spot. And I yell, I'm like, give the fat man a chance. So they started rolling again for the next take. And as soon as they yelled cut, I got there as fast as I could. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And they're like turning around. And what that means is that they don't have to shoot again for another 15 minutes while they're turning everything around for the cameras. So it's a great set to be on. You know, it's fun. The people are wonderful. You know, we joke around all the time. I think you guys saw a post I put on Instagram about them putting me in one of the smallest trailers possible as a joke. I usually get that trailer anyways, but it was great because whenever I get bumped up to the nice big trailers, it's awesome. But it was one of our 38 Days Will who did that to me, and it was the funnest thing. It was great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you, Elena. Now, we had Diane on here from Illinois, and I think she's just dropped off. So I'll ask her question. Hopefully she can join back on. She was here when you first joined, Trevor, so I'm not sure what's happened with her internet. But Diane has asked, you decided to become an actor at 4 years old after watching Star Wars. What was the defining moment about the movie that started you down the path to want to be an actor?
Star Wars. 1977. I was 4 years old because my birthday's in July, so it came up before my birthday. I remember the day like it was yesterday. That's weird, right?
Yes.
We had like a Pinto car, a Ford Pinto, one of those cars that explode if you touch the bumper wrong. I remember the back seat, the vinyl seats being hot. I remember every aspect of that day. My brother and my dad and I went to go see Star Wars, and I ran up to the front seats because I wanted to be front row to see it. And you know, when you sit in the front row of a movie theater back in the day, it was like this,
yes,
like that. And my dad and my brother didn't want to sit up front, so they were like, no, we're going to go sit back here. I'm like, nope, I ain't moving. I'm like, okay, you're going to sit by yourself. I'm like, okay. And I don't remember blinking or breathing for like 2 hours, just sitting there watching this whole thing go down. And when you look at my baby book when we were kids, you'd be like age 1, age 2, age 3, and then when you get to age 3, they're like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I think it was like, I think age 2, I was like, I want to be a fireman, and I want to be a policeman. And age 4 and on was I want to be an actor, much to the chagrin of my parents who were bankers. Let's focus on going on to the least stable job you could possibly get. Sure. But it was ever since then, I always wanted to do it. And life would always steer me away. You know, the jobs I've had in the past, I used to work for companies that contracted to Microsoft for years. The banking stuff, the construction for a little while. One of the best jobs I ever had was working in a video store called Family Video in Saskatoon. We're one of the few video stores that when like Rogers and Blockbuster came to town, we competed with them and we won and expanded. that sadly is no longer an actual job for anybody, but it was one of the greatest ones in the world. But it kept me close to that whole love of movies. So I would watch movies all the time. And actually, they even gave me my own weekly radio review show at one point. So if you imagine me on the radio, yeah. I remember when episode 1 came out, we had a trivia contest. So whoever could stump the Star Wars expert won tickets to go see the show. Everybody stumped me, every single one. I was embarrassed, but it was the funniest thing. But yeah, it was just basically, I think I said this earlier, was leaving a movie theater different than when you came in was the whole point of it. And when Star Wars came out, we had never seen anything like that in our lives. And it was a collective thing of like how many hundred people were in those theaters every time where their lives were changed dramatically. And it was weird because it was everybody at once having that collective experience. And like I look back today, like there's one amazing actor who I got to work with and got directed by. It was Giancarlo Esposito, who was in The Mandalorian in season 1 and 2, I believe. And when I saw him on there, I was like, oh, I'm one step away from Star Wars. One step. And funny story, 1999, I quit my job at the video store, sold everything I owned, and kept a couple of suitcases full of my most prized possessions, got a year-long work visa, and moved to Australia to try and get episode 2 and 3. That's where we're coming into moving, kind of spending some time in your guys' region of the world. And within a week, I got robbed.
Oh.
So it was, I took 3 days after the whole thing happened and was like, well, I can either stick it out and try to make it happen, or I can kind of go back and start fresh. I had enough money that I could start fresh again, either way. And I left. And that was one of the things I regret the most because, I never even went to do the touristy things. I think I walked around Sydney for a bit. And I wanted to go to New Zealand. And if I had stuck around, I think if I would have stayed, I would have ended up in New Zealand, ended up in Lord of the Rings, would have been a Hobbit, easily, or a dwarf with this thing. But it's amazing how life can alter you in different ways and guide you to where you need to be instead of where you want to be. Yeah. And so thanks, Star Wars.
And of course, Temuera Morrison, he's also in Star Wars. I think is he Boba Fett? I can't.
He was Jango Fett, and he's Boba Fett, and he's every single clone trooper.
Right. Okay. Yep. So, and also another Kiwi. So you will have to make it down to New Zealand one day.
Don't even get me started on my love of Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. They're
love
hilarious. Them. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Trevor, we are going to, we're staying in New Zealand where I am, and we've got Avril, one of the ladies who travelled to Vancouver. So Avril, what is your question?
Well, my question, hi Trevor, first of all, it's so cool to meet you. And all I want to do is give you the biggest hug every time I see you on Virgin River. You've just got that fabulous appeal. You've stood out from day one. But my question's kind of been answered in the fact that I was going to say, are you acting full-time or do you have another job? So you've kind of covered that. But I just want to let you know how much I admire your part. I know it's not a main part, but you are such an integral part of Virgin River. You're vital to the whole setup of that special feeling Virgin River's got. And when I spent this month in Vancouver I just absorbed the whole Virgin River scenario. Joanne took me around to all the film sites. While we were filming, we met as she did. She's a bloody terrible flirt, I tell you. Unbelievable flirt. So she gave me the courage to do the same thing. So we had the most amazing time.
Oh,
so amazing. I just want to wish you all the very best. Keep going. Be that most fabulous person that you are. And this is just amazing to see the real you, and for you to be so starstruck by other stars is phenomenal, because I thought anyone who's a star wouldn't be starstruck by anybody else.
I ain't no star.
You are a star. You are in my book anyway. Anyway.
Make me feel amazing.
The other thing is, this is the last time I'm ever going to ask this question because I'm getting very disheartened. I sent you and Charlie some socks because I thought you really deserved recognition from one of the super fans for being you guys. Did you ever get your socks that I sent to the studio?
No. Weren't they sent them to the studio?
I posted them to the studio, yes.
Okay. I will follow up and find out if they do have them. I'm going to send you a message.
Oh, that would be so cool because I sent them to so many, all the main cast, you especially, and a couple of the special crew that Joanne and I were so involved with and gave us such a fabulous time.
So they wouldn't press charges?
Pretty much, yes, exactly. Actually, you're right. That worked a treat. We got away with so many. Well, we didn't get away with, but we were so well looked after by these guys. They were just phenomenal. Oh. I sent them socks as well because they were real special. And one of them was Martin's driver, Adam, and the other was Chris with a K, who's cast security. And they really took care of us in the best possible way, and they said to do any gifts for the cast to send them to the studio. Well, I've had nothing. I've had about 3 responses, and of all the ones I've knitted, I just wonder if anybody's getting them.
They might be waiting because at the end of the season we'll get like a wrap present. There's usually a bag of goodies. I wonder if they'll leave them there, but I'll find out and I'll let you know.
Oh, Trevor, I would love for you to do that. And such a pleasure and a special thrill for me to talk to you. You are one. And I'm sorry you're not drinking a beer, but I love the sound of the tea.
It's so good. I highly recommend it.
I brought home so much maple syrup from Vancouver. You wouldn't believe it. I had a suitcase full of it. Get out to New Zealand. It's a beautiful country. Yeah, cheers and thanks for talking to us. It's a real treat.
Cool. Thank you, Avril. So now we are going to Wichita and we've got a question from Matthew.
Hi, Trevor. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great. Before I actually ask my actual question, is that the dragon head katana from Highlander up on your mantle?
Here's the fun story. There's 2.
Oh, nice.
One of them is the TV and one's the movie. And I got them when I first started, like seriously going, okay, I'm going to try to do another job again after I got sick. The bank that I worked for, they shut the department down and were like, okay, well, here's your severance package. I'm like, oh, thanks. And I went and bought toys. And I bought those.
That's awesome.
I love the nerd stuff.
As a fellow nerd, the first tattoo that I ever got was the Watcher tattoo from Highlander series. So I saw the katana, I was like, yes. But my question is actually a Star Wars related question. And it is, in the entire Star Wars universe, from the movies to the TV shows, if you could have portrayed any one of the kind of seminal characters, who would you have liked to have portrayed and why?
1000% easy answer. And I'm not going to tell you. But I'll tell you. In 2011, there's a comic convention here called Fan Expo. And I got to meet Jeremy Bulloch, who played Boba Fett in the original series, and a cowardly Imperial officer who used Princess Leia as a human shield at one point. And he was the only celebrity there who didn't sit behind their table. He came around to the other side of the table and was standing there talking with everybody in line. And I got to have the best conversation with him, just about life in general, because I had just survived this horrible medical issue, and I was trying to get my life back and follow my dream. And he was telling me, go for it. Don't let go of it. Just keep following it. And he had a book that he was selling that was his autobiography, and I wanted to buy it, but he had sold out already. So he said, I'll tell you what, if you go to my website and you buy one, as soon as I get home, the day I get home to London, I will send it to you. I'm like, fantastic, done. A few weeks later, package in the mail comes. It's his book. And it's dedicated in there. It's got another picture inside it. And I looked at the package. And I'm like, wait a minute. This has his address on it. I have Boba Fett's home address. And he's another person that I wanted to thank, and then he passed away. I think it's bad luck with people I need to thank. So should I thank you all now? Thank you all. But it was 100% Boba Fett. And because here's the thing about Star Wars is I don't need to have my face shown in Star Wars. I could do a Simon Pegg thing where I could just completely covered in makeup and prosthetics just to be there, to experience it happening. That would be a dream come true. Like I would do like what was it? Daniel Craig was like, I just want to be a stormtrooper. I'd kill to be a stormtrooper. I'd look like Peter Griffin as a stormtrooper, like a big giant fat stormtrooper. But it's such a magical thing. Like I don't know. Obviously, you've probably watched like the animated series like Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff. And like one of the things I just recently did was I 3D printed an Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber for our showrunner for Virgin River to say thank you. And for the other show I do, Nancy Drew, one of the main executives there, I made him the Darksaber. But I changed it up a little bit and did some like translucent blue filament in some of the areas, so it looks very cool. But Star Wars brings such joy to me because of that kind of stuff. I just spread it around. But to be actually in it, I could be a rock. Make me an Ewok, a really tall Ewok. I don't care. I would love to do anything Star Wars.
Awesome.
But Boba Fett, man.
Yeah.
Always will.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Matthew. So, Trevor, we're now going to Long Island, and we've got a question from Melissa.
Hi, Trevor. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for. I'm good. So you bring the character of Bert to life, and we just enjoy seeing you in all your scenes. You do an incredible job. So some of my questions were asked, but I wanted to just piggyback off of the the Honey Wagon trailer. Can you say who was the prankster and who is the funniest cast member off set?
Oh, good call. Well, the prankster was our third assistant director, Will. He's a hoot. We had a very, very hot couple weeks go on. So when I showed up and met Will for the first time, I brought him a cooler full of like Freezy Pops just to keep him cool. And I bought him a neck fan to kind of keep him nice and cool. So we became friends. And there's a running gag where I always say that I'm too fat for the Honey Wagon because they're small. You saw in the video, they're tiny. And to try to lay down on that bench at any point or just comfortably is impossible for anyone more than 200 pounds. And I'm more than 200 pounds. So one day I showed up and there were trailers available, but my name was on the Honey Wagon. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to. And he made me go inside, and then I looked around and I saw the sign and love it. That it was like in a Disney font. That was funny. But he just laughed his face off. It was the funniest thing. And yeah, it's fun. We're at that point now, being in our 5th season, it's just, we prank a lot of just, making jokes and things. As far as who's the funniest on set, that's a hard one because there's so many people that are just a hoot. I'm going to name them all. All right. I'm going to cheat. So obviously, like Alex and Martin are fun as heck because they're just goofing around and dancing all the time. And I think you go a little stir crazy when you're there every day. So you got to have things fun. Tim and Annette are fun. They're a pleasure to have conversations with. And they're so supportive, it's fantastic. There's an individual who plays Connie. She's a freaking hoot. She's mainly a stage actress, and her improv skills are like crazy snappy. The one person who I get in trouble with, pretty much, where they've got a point, I think they have to separate us now for the scenes, is Keith, who plays Nick. We hit it off right when we first met in season 3, and yeah, it was fun. It was great. Everybody really, like, Colin plays Preacher. Always, he's actually, Colin. He's one of the him and actually Ben noticed when if I'm not super high energy or super excited, they can sense when something's up. And Ben was actually the one who probably helped save my life that day that I collapsed. It's like he told me, you should go get checked out by first aid if you're feeling that bad. I'm like, okay, yeah. And Colin is just like, he could always sense like, hey, you feeling okay? Or he'd notice, is your beard a different color than it usually is? Stuff like that. Everybody's great. Like, it's hard to kind of say, that nobody's fun because everybody's fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Plus,
you're all.
Where you're
so
from?
much.
I got to go hang out in that area of town in 2005. I was doing some training with T-Mobile in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I got to make my way up to. I didn't get to Long Island, but I got to New York a couple times, and that's a place that feels like home. That's the freakiest place. Like going in Central Park, and you walk 20 feet, and then you hear nothing. Like all the car sounds are gone.
Yeah.
Trippy, very trippy, but good people though. Oh my goodness, good times. Don't get me started on my Impractical Jokers.
Thank you so much, Trevor. It was so great to meet you and chat with you.
Cool. Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Melissa. So now we're going back to the UK, and Suzanne has a question for you.
Hi, Trevor. It's really lovely to be able to speak with you today. A lot of all three of my questions have been answered, but I did just want to say, again, like what other people have said, you're an integral part of Virgin River, and I think without you, it wouldn't be what it is. It's amazing. But I do have a question. What would be your favourite, if you could only pick one, what would your favourite superhero be?
Good one. I've always been a Superman fan because Christopher Reeve made me believe people could fly. However, Green Lantern, he's a superhero that his power is based on his willpower. And the Green Lantern Corps, the spectrum of people, like there's the entire Green Lanterns themselves, but there's blue lanterns as well, and yellow lanterns, and orange lanterns, and red lanterns, all of the spectrums of emotions. But the blue lanterns they have the power of hope. And in the comics, whenever you get a Green Lantern and a Blue Lantern together, they superpower each other. So will and hope, two most powerful things. That's why if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see that's the only photo on there is that the two of them mixed together. And ironically, the tattoo I showed you guys, 3 months after I got that, I found a 2-issue comic series where Superman, instead of being a Kryptonian going to Earth, he was an Earthling who went to Krypton. And he was the weakest person on Krypton. So he had to live in a bubble as a baby and had an exoskeleton suit for a while and basically grew up to be the weakest person on the planet. Then a Green Lantern ring came and chose him to be a Green Lantern. And his outfit is different than any other Green Lantern's outfit, but this chest thing is very similar to my tattoo, which makes copyright a horrible thing. But he ends up going to Earth and saves Krypton from exploding, for one thing, with the power of the Green Lantern. But then he goes to Earth, and Lex Luthor's the president of the planet, and Lex Luthor's evil, and he figures out where his power comes from, and he steals the ring. And Superman's he's so angry that he gets defeated so easily, he punches the wall in the jail cell and discovers that because he's been living on Krypton for so long that his muscles have gotten so strong that he punched a hole in the wall and became Superman through the whole thing. And it's via being a Green Lantern, I think, I still like Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie. I thought it's got its merits. But I think
me too. I love it.
Right? It's just having the power to fight fear, to push forward when everything's against you. It speaks a lot to me, and all the things that I've had to go through and continue to go through every day. Like, as someone who, I'm never gonna be 100% again, which is a hard thing to accept, but it makes you really appreciate what you have and can do. So every day that I get, I live as much as I can. That's why that's why when I'm on set, I'm very goofy and I'm very high energy and kind of bouncing all around, because it's the greatest job in the world. But I think if I got to be a superhero, it'd be that one for sure.
No, I agree. I think Superman, Green Lantern, and maybe Deadpool as well is kind of where I am. I love Deadpool as well.
I'll post a couple of pictures on Instagram as soon as we finish here. I did some cosplay where I did Assassin's Creed, Green Lantern. So I had lights in the hood and a light up ring, and I gave away little glow in the dark rings to kids. And then same day I did Assassin's Creed Deadpool, which kind of suits it a little bit better.
Oh,
it's
wow.
pretty awesome. But it's like me, big chubby guy in spandex. I did get to play a superhero in one show called a show called Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. And it's a reboot of an old 70s series that was done by Sid and Marty Krofft, who are the guys who are behind HR Puffin stuff and a bunch of crazy things from the 70s. And I got to meet him, one of the creators, at our table read for that show, and gave him the biggest hug, and I'm sure I crushed him. But it was one of those childhood dreams come true. But they put me in black and red spandex, and they took my beard, because it was about this long, and they put it in two little ponytails. So whenever I talked, they'd be like little frog's legs going all over the place. They put an eye patch on my face, so I was Captain Phaser, so I had like a laser eye thing. But because they put that on my eye, I had no depth perception. I was bumping into everything the entire shoot. But yeah, that's as close as I came so far. But knock on wood.
Oh, well, that sounds really fun, and I'm going to check that out because that just sounds brilliant. Again, thank you, and again, #more Bert.
Yes. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. So we have got one lucky last question from Roberta. So Roberta, what's your question?
Well, all my questions have been answered, so I just want to say hello to you. You are one of the most fascinating people I've ever met. It's just been a joy to listen to you tell your story. So you just mentioned some more jokers, impractical jokers. So why don't you tell us some more about that? Because I just love listening to your stories.
Well, it's a show from the boys out in Long Island that it's just, they're just lifelong friends who mess with each other, and it's videotaping. So they got an earpiece, and the other guys tell them what to do, and they're in the weirdest situations. It's the funniest show. It's a hoot. Oh my goodness. I'd love to meet those guys one day. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So you have any more funny stories about Virgin River, things with Virgin River?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I remember we had a day. Can't tell that story.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you allowed to tell that story?
It's got to be the first 4 seasons.
We'll flash back. Because I know, like, filming up in Squamish, we'll get the odd bear stuff going on there. But I think back in season 3, when I first got up there for the first time, is when I met Keith, who plays Nick. And we basically, I don't know if we had much of any lines for that day. So we basically got to be like, overpaid background actors for the day. And we would just goof around in the background. And if you watch it again, you may be able to catch a couple things. We're just basically walking up a path and stuff. But we're just
I watch it pretty much every day. I watch
pretty much, right?
Every day. Yeah. So I'll start checking for some scenes like that, because I have to watch some scenes every day.
There's some fun stuff that didn't make the final cut. I remember there was one scene, I think in season 4, maybe season 3, where Muriel comes up to talk to Nick, and Muriel's being her flirty self, obviously, and Nick's being kind of flirty back. But Joellen starts walking towards us, and I just improvised, going, code blue, and I walked away. And it didn't make the final cut, which was sad because that was funny. But we did, like, there was the time when Bert was trying to get a burger from Ricky. And Ricky took off, and then that was improvised, and me going, burger!
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Well, it's just like every time I sit down at that bar in that spot now, and Colin's there, I just go, burger!
It was so great to meet you. Thank you for doing this. You have made my day.
Oh,
it's my pleasure.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Roberta. We have actually gone past our hour, and I haven't even got to ask a question, so I'm going to squeeze one in before we go. I'd love to know, what's on your bucket list, Trevor?
Oh my goodness. My bucket list now is to do as much Virgin River as possible. Yes. We love doing Bert. He's the funnest character I've ever had. And just to see what happens if we can actually build a career from this. Like I've done a lot of stuff so far, but it's still at that one level, and getting to those higher levels is the goal. I would love to get into some Star Wars stuff, some Marvel superhero stuff, because if you can imagine me in spandex, I know you all want to see it. It would be a hoot, I think. And I just, it's exciting, that I'm trying to make this big comeback from losing pretty much everything when I got sick. And it's hard because you meet actors and stuff who have this toolbox full of tools that they get to dig into. And my toolbox basically has a hammer and the wrong screwdriver for every job, but I still make it work. Yeah. And it's because of, you guys that's why I like talking to everybody. It keeps me going. And if I can leave you guys with one thing, because of everything I went through, like there were some really dark, depressing times, and I came up with this whole mentality of, if no matter how bad your day gets, all you have to do is get to midnight. It's all you have to do, because tomorrow starts fresh. And so whether that is you laying on the couch watching YouTube videos till you go to sleep, fine. If you do one task in a day, fine. Just get to midnight is all you need to do. And that's the kind of thing that got me through. Because 10 months of that illness, it wasn't like, I got sick and it took 10 months to get better. It was every day getting worse. And there were times where I didn't know if I was going to wake up in the morning when I went to bed. And a lot of times where I would wake up in the morning wishing I didn't, because it was in so much pain. And it's a rough thing to go through. And one of the things that got me through was watching a lot of shows. And I've gotten this amazing gift now where I get to thank those people personally for helping me get through that and essentially saving my life. And it's a wonderful feeling, because I know the look in their eyes is like, well, this is overwhelming. But for me, it's the best part of this job, is that I get to meet all these people and I get to talk to them one-on-one and say, hey, you helped me on a very personal level. And I can't thank you enough for it. Best thing I can do is not mess up my lines for every take we do and get you out of here early. But so thank you for having me on the show. And getting to meet everybody. You guys are amazing people, and I can't wait to get the pilgrimage going again and get to meet you all. And I'm literally going to wear a shirt it's like a Care Bear shirt that I bought. It says "Hug Dealer" on it, and everybody gets the biggest bear hug as possible. And we'll sit there on the riverfront up at Squamish and just talk and just watch the birds and the eagles and the seals in the water. It was very magical. It's very cool.
It is a date, Bert. We will lock it in for this time, your summer next year, which is our winter. Yep.
Done.
I just called you Bert. Sorry. Oh my gosh. There you
Hey,
go. Oh,
it works. It works.
sorry.
It's me.
That is terrible. Sorry, Trevor. Trevor, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing, and I've never cried before and in chatting, so I might from now on just have a box of tissues. So yeah, and I hope that we can chat again after season 5. Would love to talk to you about all the antics behind the scenes in season 5. So hopefully we can do this again.
Done. I look forward to it.
Cool. And I just wanted to thank all those people who are zooming in as well. I know it's crazy times in different time zones, and everybody was making it work. So thank you once again, guys. And yeah, Trevor, enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to chatting again.
Here's to maple syrup oolong tea. Thank you, folks.
Awesome. Thanks, Trevor. Bye.
Bye.